Houston, Texas, flexing, rolling through the SWAT. Repping for the city, hear 'em in the parking lot. Houston written across the jersey, ain't gon' never stop. Just fans got me tuning in, waiting for the drop. Astros, Texas, Rockets, Dynamo, they coming with it. When they pull up, got the city sitting on a fitted. Straight up A-Leaf, hold it down, ain't gon' never quit it. Just fans got me tuning in, let my dogs get it. Southwest A-Leaf, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans.
How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining me. I'm Carlos, one of your hosts of the Just Fans podcast, and I'm riding solo today because my guys are not dependable, so it's okay. It's a lot better without them. Hey, I'm here with the one and only Tyler Savage from East Carolina. How's it going, bud? How you doing today?
Good. I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Good to have you on. So, really quick, you're about to have your pro day on March 25th, correct?
Yes, sir.
What's on the mindset right now for Tyler? What's going on through you?
So right now I've just been training since January just to get my body at the most physical peak it can be. I have a spot out here in Tysons, Virginia, that has taken me through the roots. Techniques with the 40-yard dash, L drill, bench, 5-10-5, whatever that the pro day requires. They got a great staff over there that's been helping me out.
Well, it's awesome to hear, man. It seems like you're getting ready. Is there a certain I always like to ask the prospects over the last couple of years that we've done things like this. Is there like a certain dietary thing that you follow, like a routine that you follow with the meals? Like what's the thing that you really have to eat, I guess, right before around this time to try to be in your best shape possible for your pro day?
Yes, sir. So through my training process, or through training, we have a company called Mighty Meals that comes through about once a week. It has certain foods and proteins like roasted chicken bites, salmon, steaks, and before that, they have me do a body composition with my total body fat, how much I weigh, muscle mass, and based on that info, they kind of make a nutritional plan that I've been following for the past couple weeks. That's really been, helping me out. And I feel a lot leaner than what I was during the season. And I'm just getting ready for pro day.
There you go, man. It's so awesome that they break it down to like a science of like what you're supposed to eat and all that.
Yes, sir.
I think mine would be McDonald's, maybe some Chick-fil-A, maybe all that. That's exactly why I'm this way right now. So, not to brag, but this takes years to form, guys. This takes years to form, I'm having my own pro day. Yeah. No, man. No. So how hard was it? Like, I guess adapting to this new type of diet as opposed to like what you were going throughout the season. Like, I'm sure it wasn't this as intense. Or was it?
Right. It was intense. Throughout the year, you kind of want to be on at least for a tight end, you kind of want to be on the heavier side.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you're able to, move people out of the way when you're blocking, and then just ultimately just be like a valiant point in the offense, But during the combine space, you kind of want to be the total opposite. So it's losing weight, it's losing body fat, to just ultimately just run the fastest you can, be the leanest you can be, and pass the eye test to the NFL scouts.
There you go. So you brought up towards the blocking. How do you? I know most, in tight ends, you have to basically almost do it all, kind of like running backs in a way, right?
Yes,
you have to be able to catch the ball. You have to be able to block and things like that. How are you able to handle blocking assignments? How do you deal with that?
So that's just our preparation through. When we start throughout the week during the season, coach brings us in, and he talks about the game plan for the week. And the blocking assignments change every week, depending on who you play. You might play more of a four down look, where you're primarily blocking the end or the rush in some scenarios, or also you can do 3-down looks where you're comboing with the tackle to go up to the linebackers. So it's really based on who you play that week. But our coaches do a really good job, or did a really good job of making sure that all the tight ends in our room was prepared.
Nice. Is there a certain scheme you really feel more comfortable in than others?
I really like the spread offense scheme. I also like being 12 personnel, more tight ends on the field, more love for us.
Yeah, true.
Just, the spread offense allows us spread offense allows you to just win your one-on-ones, as I put it. Being a tight end being a tight end, you really have to focus on winning your one-on-ones, and I think that's something that I excel at. So I like the spread and also being in 12 personnel.
So I want to talk to you really quick. One of your, I saw one of your highlights back in November. You guys played against FAU. You had a catch there for about 25 yards. Tell me, how was that particular play? How did that play out? I guess.
So it was the very first play of the game, and our coach drew it up. It was kind of like a fake reverse. Our coach always wanted to, just start off the game with a bang so the fans are engaged. And he said that the first play is coming to you, so don't drop it. And I do a really good job of catching the ball, but he was just ultimately just, making sure I was in the right headspace. But the ball came my way, and it was a perfectly thrown pass from my guy Caton Hauser. And ultimately that just started the game off, and we scored the next play, and that was a real game changer.
You felt good about setting the tone. How did you feel about being the first play, grabbing the ball? Do you feel like that set the tone for your team?
I definitely do. It's easy to throughout the game, and the first play not really coming to you. It's easy to get distracted away from the game. But when the coach tells you the ball is coming to you, the first play of the game in front of everybody, you kind of really got to get your mind really more locked in than you already are for the game.
Yeah, it feels like you guys were locked in after that because y'all beat them like 49-14 on that game. I was like, y'all not only were y'all focused, y'all really laid it out on them, man. That's crazy.
That was a great game for us.
Yeah, I see that. So, is there a certain game that you out of your entire college career that stands out of all of them that you're just like, that's the game that I want people to remember Tyler Savage from?
I wouldn't say a particular game. I would say more of a moment. I would say during the 2023 season, if I can bring it back that far.
Sure.
Before the beginning of the year, I had messed up my knee during training camp, and I was out for 6 to 7 weeks. And I give all the credit to my training staff, and they brought me back rehabilitated and better, stronger, faster than I was. But at that time, I would say that I was down mentally, and I was just trying to figure out, the reason why, because it's easy to get down on yourself. But I would say after that game, or after that moment, week 7, I just became like this totally different person. Finished out the 2023 season, and then that ultimately, brought a chip on my shoulder for 2024. I wanted a completely healthy season, and I was able to do that, and I was able to showcase what I can do.
Nice. That's good to hear. I always love those moments whenever you kind of set a tone for yourself, like an actual goal, and you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do after this, especially like after a knee injury, like you said, like, because you never know, like, any injury you have in football, I'm assuming it's like you take it so seriously because, any down, any play, whatever, anything can happen. So I'm sure you guys take it like very, very seriously.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So another question I wanted to ask you is like, so looking back at in this position, what's the most challenging aspect, do you think, in the tight end position? What is the most challenging aspect of adapting to the speed and complexity of the NFL?
I would say just knowing who you're going up against. I would say knowing the defenses you're going up against, because you're really doing it all. One game you might be able to, catch maybe 10 catches for like 100-something yards and be the player of the game and feel like you're contributing. But then there also might be games where you're blocking 95% of the time.
Right.
You really have to, really figure out the scheme. And that just goes to what we were talking about earlier with the certain schemes and our opponents. But I think that's really the challenge. Really the challenge for the tight ends in particular is just knowing when, your time is called to catch the 10 catches for 100 yards or block 95% of the time.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be something that says, okay, what kind of game plan's going on for this week? Am I a blocker? Am I catching or whatnot? Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So, is there a particular specific play from your college film that kind of showcases your strengths, like as far as that play is concerned?
Not I would say just my tape or my film from the UNC Charlotte game in particular. I felt like I was a key focal point. But again, we lost, but I feel like I was targeted like 6 times and caught a couple passes, but I was really good in the run game as well. With blocking and fitting up the DNs, they're mostly in a 4-down look. But I feel like that game in particular, we all have we all can improve on stuff when you watch the film later. But in that moment, I really felt like I was really doing everything I could.
There you go. That makes sense. Yeah, no, definitely. The more the more adaptable you are to certain schemes, the better you are at certain things. I mean, if you can do it all, that's basically what scouts look for, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's it. How adaptable you are, how good you are at doing certain things. 100%. So, let's talk about how in the film room, how do you approach film study? And is there a specific thing you look for when you're analyzing your opponent?
I approach film study the same in every instance. So I have a notebook. We have the game plan of the full scouting report of our teams, of our defense. We'll have their coverage tendencies and percentages. We'll have their coach's history, and it's crazy to think that our coach's history can really impact what they do at their current school, because they normally bring the same scheme from one school to the other. But film study is the same. Watch the opponents and look for tendencies that they do. Like at the end, puts their hand down, puts 2 hands down, they're coming. If they only put 1 down, they might not be coming all the time. And then just watching our line, and in regards to the pass game, just watching the linebackers and safeties, because that's who you're normally going to be matched up against during the game.
Is there somebody in the NFL currently that, or in the past, either present or past player that you feel like you've modeled your game again, you've modeled your game like?
If I had to pick one person, I would definitely say George Kittle.
Okay.
Or George Kittle or Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's more the receiving tight end. He gets open. They utilize him in different ways. They get the ball in his hands. But then George Kittle also has that primarily in like zone coverages. He knows how to find windows, and he also wins his one-on-ones. But he's also a value in the run game as well. So I think those 2 guys in particular are some of the key people that I try to, model my game after.
There you go. If there was a particular, I mean, I know that the answer would be like, well, any team that would pick me up, but if there was is there any particular quarterback that you'd like to catch the ball from in the NFL?
I'd like to catch all from every quarterback in the league, but if I had to pick one, I'd definitely have to say Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, yeah.
Yeah, I love Jalen Hurts. I'm an Eagles fan at heart.
Yeah.
Been an Eagles fan really my whole life.
So that
would be good to catch from Jalen, but I'd also feel a childhood hole in my heart.
Definitely. I feel like a lot of the guys that we interview, you're a fan of a particular team, and then it always feels like if they were to land on that team, like that feels a something from their childhood that makes it like more special or whatnot for them. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. During the Super Bowl, we were looking notably more at Jalen Hurts, because so we're Houston based, so he's a Houston guy, so obviously we were looking more at what Jalen was doing. So yeah, no, definitely that would be a good one, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit of the NFL, of course. What are your thoughts on like the evolving schemes in the NFL, and like how do you see yourself fitting into a modern offense or modern offense?
I see that I can really produce and adapt into the modern game. I was talking to my trainer about this actually yesterday. The game is more, West Coast style lingo, and everything's tagged. The running back will get tagged. That's why plays are really so long, because you're telling everybody what they have on that play. And I really think that's more easier for every guy. So not just you call a certain play and everyone has to know what everyone has on that certain play. you kind of know what your own individual assignment is, and then based on your formations or whatever, your assignment can change. And I think that I can really adapt to that.
Okay, there you go. You feel like it's a lot easier once like you have okay, everybody's doing this and that. Kind of like a little bit of a reminder, like hey, this is what you're supposed to do, where you're going, and things like that, right?
Yes, sir.
So since we have your pro day coming up on March 25th, what are you hoping to showcase most at your pro day and why?
The biggest thing I want to showcase is um, how elusive I am.
Yeah.
I can run. I want to also show how I get in and out of breaks really well. I really want to show that I can really get out of my breaks quick. That's one thing that we've been focusing on with me and my trainers. Just getting out of breaks faster. The scouts want to see how long it takes you to get out of breaks, and that's one of the biggest check boxes you have to check off on their list of things they check. But that's one of the biggest things that I want to really show. And then also in my drill is just my 5-10-5 and my L drill, just how quick and I can move and change speeds and get in and out, and that's about it.
Awesome. There you go. So I since you're in that moment of like almost like an uncertainty. I know you got your pro day going on, but then after it's like okay, you're almost kind of just waiting to see what happens if you get a call or anything like that.
Right.
So how do you I guess how are you managing like the pressure and uncertainty? I know you said you were feeling pretty excited about it, but is there a certain time of like when you feel a little bit of pressure, and how do you handle that?
I think during the pro day itself, I'm gonna feel a lot of nerves because there's a projected all 32 teams will be there, including teams from the CFL and XFL or UFL now. So I feel like in that moment there'll be more nerves, but I try to tell myself to be more anxious rather than nervous. Nervous to me just sounds like you're unprepared, and anxious means you really just can't wait to show what you're all about. But I want to show, or I can handle that by just being with my family. After pro day, all my teammates and my family will be there. So just being around them, and just as long as I walk out of the field knowing that I gave my best foot forward and did all the things that I needed to do and showcased and I felt really good about it. Then that's all, I just leave it all into God's hands. And
there you go.
He always has a plan.
Exactly. There you go. And by any chance, have you spoken to any NFL teams at all? By any chance, or no?
So I haven't talked to them in particular. My agent handles that right now, but I haven't talked to any personally.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's say you get chosen by by a team, whatever team that may be. What are your goals for your rookie season in the NFL?
My goals would definitely be to make an impact. I know that you have to adapt to the modern scheme, but also I know you have to be a value on special teams. You might not be on the offense to start, but I know you have to have a huge role on special teams. But also, besides the stuff on the field, I want to be a good locker room leader. I want to be someone that the coaches can trust and the players can trust me to, if they ask me something, I'm going to be right there. And the coaches ask me something, I'm going to be right there. So there's stuff on the field that I want to do, like being a leader on special teams or, being a contributor on the offense, really. But then I also want to show, my off the field and just how good of a leader I am and good of a person I am.
There you go. And just to give you guys, for those of you are watching, this right here at the bottom, that's your Instagram, your X account right there for our viewers to follow you and just follow your pro day stuff and any updates or whatever. I feel like they could see it through there. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Got it. Okay, good. So that's his X account right there at IM_TS23 right there. Don't forget that. Also, don't forget to check us out, of course, at our channel right here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at JustFans22, our Instagram account at JustFansPod, and of course our YouTube account our X account as well as JustFans22. just as a reminder to y'all. All right, so since you were talking about about being a locker room leader, uh, for you, who has been like the biggest influence in your football career? Have you had like a locker room leader that has ever like guided you in the right way when you weren't having, I guess, like the best day out there?
I credit a lot of the people that I was under, going through college. There's a lot of the senior class from 2020 to 2021 to 2022, 23 that I just always looked up to. I might have not told them all the time, but they were definitely people that I looked up to because they've been there before. They went through the challenges before me. They know what the coaches are going to say. Coming in, I always tell the story that I was talking to one of my teammates, and he really just told me what the coach was going to say already based on, how he was looking in the hallway, greeting us coming into the building. So just ultimately just showing my love for the older people in front of me and just really following their lead because, like I said, they've been there before. They know what to expect. They played the games. They have the experience. So that's why I just try to follow. I try to follow them.
Do you have an experience where you felt like you've paid that forward to another teammate of yours?
I'd say that I was trying to be a mentor to the younger tight ends in my group, primarily this year. My coach wanted me to be more of a vocal leader. Yeah. I always do the right things. I might not always, be as vocal, but my actions always speak louder than my words. But this past year, I really wanted to focus on being more of a mentor / kind of almost like a big brother in a sense to the younger tight ends that were in my that were in the room with me because now senior tight ends aren't there anymore, and it relies on them. I hope that I did a great job in teaching them like how to go about practice, how to go about your business. So that's about it. Just try to be a leader to them.
It's kind of like a reflection of yourself, right? Like what ended up happening later on is like, well, this is what I did to help these guys out or whatnot. Hopefully they get a chance to like pay it forward and just kind of like, all right, as long as the tight end position isn't in shambles next year, you feel like, all right, I did a pretty good job right there.
Yeah. I don't want to flash on my name because I was trying to tell them something bad.
Right. Well, actually, Tyler told us. No, I didn't. Tyler didn't say anything. No, we didn't.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. All right, man. So, so with that being said, can you tell us a little bit for those who may not be familiar with Eastern the Pirates? What was the culture like in the locker room there with the Pirates?
I tell you, the culture is really just a big family. We do a lot of things outside of the football. We do a lot of things outside of football that the coaches may not even know. Like we'll all go to each other's houses for big events like the Super Bowl or college national championship game, or even if it's just grabbing food. Like we're all just a big brotherhood, and we all take care of each other. On the field, off the field, and no one gets through our bond. And that was something that we're trying to really establish. Like no one from the outside can really affect what we have inside. Yeah. And because those people aren't out there at 5 a.m. running around the fields and running the sprints that we had to do. And that was only us. And we got through that together. And we're just a big brotherhood after that.
There you go. Another question, I guess, how important to you is having that closeness, that culture? Because I know sometimes you may walk into some locker rooms that aren't as tight knit as you guys were. How do you handle those situations when a locker room isn't as tight knit or doesn't have the type of culture that you're used to?
We just we handle it as men. There's definitely times where our culture has been tested, internally, and we would bring the two people or the people that were involved in, and the leaders would talk to them, and we'd always try to put it on the players, not too much on the coaches. The coaches have their own thing to worry about,
right?
And they really might not say all the right things like a player would. And really, you would want to go talk to your teammates rather than go upstairs and talk to the coaches. And you would,
it's almost like a chain of command, right? Like you deal with it together, and then like if that's still a problem that persists or whatever, then I feel like that's when you guys start going up the ladder or whatever. That makes sense. Yeah. I feel like in most workplaces that's how it is too. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like let's settle it first, and then if that doesn't work out, all right, we got to get some higher stuff up here. Makes sense. Yeah, it's real world stuff. All right. So as far as that's concerned, like I know you were talking about how being a mentor and being, a good leader in the locker room. So like now, how important to you is it to keep like like a clean image? Because you hear about it even in college and even in the pros, like there's guys that just I don't know if whatever's happening in their lives, things happen and then you hear about them in the news and things going on. So how important is it for you to keep that image clean for you?
I've always been told, growing up and playing football, that your last name is your brand,
Yeah.
and your last name travels with you. Even when you're playing football, when I was playing football at ECU, my coach would always tell me that it wouldn't just say, Tyler Savage. It would say East Carolina football player,
Mhm.
and we would all be tarnished by it. But for me personally, I always try to just, keep my name out of business that has no need to be in. And I just try to always just make sure I'm cognizant of posting the right things, staying away from any bad stuff that can ultimately come back and, take me out or, set me back from a few things. But I handle that pretty well.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there now? I know that even in certain situations, I know the media kind of puts things out there as well. So, is there? How do you handle negativity? I guess through the media or through anything in general.
I would say that I just go back. If I go back to my training, I
Mhm.
just trust myself and know that what I can do. If something bad ever comes out, I'll handle it. I read it. I'm not gonna tell you that I just don't read it. I read it, but then
Right.
just I go back on myself and just say that's not true, or I take that as constructive criticism rather than hate. And if someone tells me that I can't run routes, I'll be at the field the next day after the game running routes, and hopefully the next game they can see that I actually can run routes. So I just ultimately just try to prove it to myself and take it as constructive criticism rather than hate.
And that's and I like that you put it that way. I was actually about to ask you that. How do you deal with that criticism you get from coaches? Everybody's always got something to say about like a certain thing that you do or whatnot, and it's always going to happen. How do you handle like constructive criticism? Do you take it as constructive criticism? Do you take it? Is there times when you have taken it kind of personal? How do you handle all that?
I just take it as constructive criticism. Um, just brush it off my shoulders and just get back to work. And that's what I preach myself on. That's what I pride myself on. And it's a mindset. You feel like you had a bad game, your coach is going to tell you the next day you had a bad game or what you did wrong. And, it's just all love. And, you just do what you need to do the next week to be better.
There you go. So, what would you want NFL teams and fans to know about you as a person?
I would say that I'm all around great person, for lack of a better term. I do all the intangibles. I try to be the first one in, last one out. I try to be like that person that my teammates can come and talk to, and just try to be there for everybody in the building. But besides like football, I try to be a community leader. That's one thing I did here at ECU. I was always out in Greenville. That's where we're located, out in Greenville, just helping out the elementary schools. I'd go read to the elementary school kids, or I
That's
help
awesome.
out with the Special Olympics. Show my face in restaurants and sign, and just try to put my face out there as much as I can. And I always just say that it's bigger than me. The game is way bigger than is me. It's for my family. It's for the community. It's for the team I go to. It's their community. It's the state. It's just bigger than me.
That's awesome to hear that you're doing all that to get yourself involved out there and like reading the kids and being just like a person that kids can look up to or anybody can look up to. That's really awesome to hear. Uh, so in that case, so I wanna ask you. So you're from now? Correct me if I'm wrong here. Aldie, Virginia. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How can you describe us your childhood now? Let's get to know you a little bit more personally. How can you describe us your childhood? How did you fall in love with the game? Was it just kind of hanging out with the kids? Was it one of those, or how did you fall in love with football? Like, how did you know football was it?
So my dad. So I really didn't know if I wanted. This was about age 5,
Mm,
and my parents would always tell me you're not going to be the biggest kid in the neighborhood and not play sports. I was always taller than everybody, and They didn't just want me to sit around. My
Yeah.
dad was a head coach. My dad coached flag football, and that's when I kind of that's when I got into football. And I was really good, and I made my friends now, and we all kind of grew up. And then at a certain point, we all had the conversation with our moms, like, "Hey, Mom, do you mind if we put the pads on and start hitting?" My mom had to adjust to it, but that's when I really loved the game. It was just just being with my friends and being with my boys and just playing the game, and it really just ultimately just increased my love for the game. And then we all went off to our schools out in I was always in a different county away from where I was playing Little League with my boys, but we took that and I just ran with it from there.
There you go. That's awesome. So, is there what is something that did you ever try out any other sports by any chance?
Right. So I played basketball. I'm actually the all-time leading scorer at my high school in basketball. I had about 2,000 points in basketball at my high school.
Wow.
They tried to get me to play, lacrosse and basketball and not basketball, soccer. The coach asked me to be the goalie for soccer one time. My football coach shut that down, and he said there's no way you just asked my star player that. But but I played basketball and football my whole career in high school.
Yeah, goalie. I would say I played. When I say I play, I don't mean like I was like good at it. I played indoor soccer. Like that's how it is. It's indoor, and so goalie was the one spot where it was. I would say probably the more dangerous one out of all of them because you're just jiving out back and forth and so forth. So it's tough. I mean, I know you're like 6'4", right? You're 6'4", so I mean, you would. Yeah, it wouldn't take much for you to cover, but still, it's that's if you've ever seen any soccer games, whether it's like in the Premier League or the Spanish League, any league, soccer, the goalie is the one that takes a lot of hit, and you're also basically like the quarterback of the team as well, guiding guys in different directions and stuff like that. So I could see why. I could see why because you're constantly throwing yourself out there. It's not like you're kicking the ball, passing it around. It's you do that still, but still, it's like you're doing a lot more.
Yeah.
You gotta have
Yeah,
100%. So tell us a little bit about growing up in Aldi.
Aldi, it's a suburban area. Everybody knows everybody kind of town. We have two rival high schools, primarily in Aldi, Freedom and John Champ. That was the main rivalry in our area. The John Champ kids would go eat at Glory Days Grill, and then the other teams would go eat at Velocity Wings right up the main road. And our games was always packed. I remember specifically this one time we actually had people like sit on the track for the game for football because there were so many people. And then for basketball, we had people literally sitting on the floor. So when you were passing the ball in, I was literally trying to say, "Excuse me," and not like step on these little kids that were standing out there. But all these just everyone knows everybody. I love growing up in Aldi. When I was going through my things with college recruiting, everybody knew, and they were all really supportive, even if they were not from the same school that I went to.
That's good to hear that you had that support from the community or whatnot, even if they weren't like directly affiliated with your school and stuff like that. That's awesome. They got that support over there, man.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So at this time, usually what we like to do, we have we always put our prospects against our guy Rios, but he wasn't able to make it today. We're going to turn this into a pop quiz, see how much you know about the NFL, okay? So they're going to be random questions, and so we're going to see how much, basically testing your knowledge, see where it is, okay? They're basic questions or whatnot. As long as it's supposed to be 5 of them, as long as you get at least 3 out of 5, you should be good. All right, ready? How do you feel?
I'm nervous now.
Oh, you're not unprepared. You should be good. So it's just random questions. Some of them are easy, kind of like the stuff that you hear in trivia or whatnot. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'll start off easy for you. Okay.
Yep.
What does the NFL stand for?
National Football League.
There you go. All right, you got one. There you go. Good. All right. Let's move it up a little bit. Where is the NFL Hall of Fame located? I can give you multiple choice if you want.
It's located in Canton, Ohio.
All right, perfect. There you go. That's 2.
And actually, a funny story. I played in that stadium. I played on Team USA growing up.
How'd that feel? Playing there, knowing the significance of the Canton, Ohio field. What was that like?
It was awesome. The nostalgia hits you really. We the day before the game we got to walk it, and that was really my first time ever being in there. And just seeing all the NFL greats, trying on. You can really see the cleats and the pads, and the headsets that the coaches and the quarterbacks use. It was awesome. It was really one of my favorite experiences that I ever had, really.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome, dude. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome. That I can't imagine like just playing there, knowing the significance of it and things like that. That's gotta be amazing.
It was actually I had a really good game there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a great.
You remember
game.
your stats for that one?
I remember I caught like a 60-yard touchdown, and I think I had maybe like 6 or 7 catches.
Okay.
I had a productive day.
There you go. Okay. All right. So back to this. How many NFL teams are located in Florida?
In Florida, so you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you have the Miami Dolphins. It's just 2? No. Hold on. Tampa Bay, there's Jacksonville, and that's how I'm missing one. Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, and Miami. So there's 3.
All right. Final answer?
Yeah, that's 3.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, it is 3. All right. You got 3. So
Jags.
there you go. All right. Let's go for the other 2. All right. I'm going to go a little harder on this one.
Okay.
Which actually, this will be my next one. Okay. So, how many NFL teams are names of some kind, have the names of some kind of bird?
Eagles, Falcons, Ravens, Seahawks. I'm trying to go state by state.
Yeah.
Eagles, Ravens, Falcons, Seahawks. Cardinals. I got 5. Off the top of my head. I know I'm missing one. Houston is Texans, Cowboys, Cardinals. So 5. I think there's 5.
Okay. Final answer?
Yeah, 5.
5. Yep. It's 5.
Okay.
You got them.
Okay.
All right. So you're 4 or 5. Good. And then finally the last one. Which team is actually publicly owned by the fans?
That the Green Bay Packers?
That's correct. All right, there you go. 5 out of 5. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
Wasn't too bad.
Hey, at least you know what I try to do. Like as a host, it's hilarious. I always try to go on the player side, and I try to give my guy Rios the hard questions. Like for example, what 2 current NFL teams have existed since the founding year in 1920?
Ooh.
You want to go for that one?
Yeah, let me try to get that. So I'm trying to think of the oldest teams.
It's only 2 teams that are still part of that since the founding year in 1920. It's only 2 of them. The oldest franchises, basically.
Are the Packers one of them?
No, they're not.
Ooh. Not the Cowboys. I want to say I don't know the Patriots. I don't know this one. This one you got me. This one you got me.
No worries. Well, at least it's not counting towards you anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the Chicago Bears and the Arizona Cardinals. So the 2 oldest franchises out there since the beginning. Yeah.
New every day.
There you go. Yeah. All All right. Well, hey, Tyler, it's been awesome interview, man. I appreciate you. I'm hoping the best for you. I'm rooting for you, and for everybody else watching this, please follow Tyler at on his X account at IAM_TS23, and I'm sure you'll be posting things on there as well regarding your pro day, basically your entire journey throughout throughout this as you do your thing where you go into the NFL, and we're hoping the best for you, bro. Right. Honestly, like I said, I'm rooting for you. Your Instagram account, give me 1 second, I'm trying to find it up here. Tyler Savage, hold on, thought I had you. See, Savage. Okay, so your Instagram account is basically your name, Tyler Savage. So I'll write it down right here so that everybody can look at it as well. Give me 1 second. IG will be, hold on, at Tyler, just your name, really. Just name. Tyler Savage. By the way, you got an awesome last name. Tyler Savage. There you go.
I was blessed with that.
So it has 2 R's on here, right? Tyler Savage.
Yes, sir.
There you go. For those of you who want to follow him on the Tyler, on his Instagram account, IG is at Tyler 2 R's Savage, just like that.
Yes, sir.
All right. And man, again, I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. I appreciate you. We're wishing you the best of luck on your journey towards your NFL career. And like I said, if you, I always tell this to every prospect. If you make it, don't forget about the Just Fans crew here. We'll come back and see us and update us on how your journey's been, bro.
No doubt.
All right. Don't leave just yet. I'm just gonna end the show. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for us. Join us on next week, which will actually be live on Monday, March 17th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Just Fans turns 3. We are celebrating our 3rd year anniversary. Thank you, Tyler. Our 3rd year anniversary, and our guest that night will be former Houston Texans safety, none other than the one Quentin Demps, Coach Q, who's a head coach at who's a head coach as well. So Coach Q, dear friend of the show, he'll be on. Coach Q has played for various teams, not just the Texans. He's been, somebody who has been on our show several times, and it's always great to hear from him because he gets, he's played the game. He knows just about everything there is to know about it. So just a heads up, for those of you who are not fully familiar with Quentin Demps, he was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles back in 2008. Andy Reid was the one that got him. Then he went to the Hartford Colonials. The Texans got him back in 2010 to 2012. Then he went over to the Chiefs, the Giants, back to the Houston Texans, and then finally ended his career with Chicago. So Quentin Demps he was in the league for a good almost 10 years. So it'll be glad to see him back over here on our show and just to hang out and shoot it with us. So again, that is next Monday. But please, don't forget to follow our guy right here, Tyler Savage, on his IG account, again at Tyler RR Savage, just how you see it there. And of course, if you're on X, he's also on X at IAM_TS23. Thank you, Tyler, again for joining us, man. Don't go just yet. Again, like I said, and we're gonna end the show. See y'all next week with our guest, Quentin Demps. Peace.
Southwest A-League, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans. If you ain't never been down here, well, rule number 1, you gon' respect us. Just Fans in my speakers, new one drop, they bout to bless us.